But with less than 5 days to hand over notes, the federal government has sacked Mr. Ribin Yadudu and appointed Mr. Kabiru Yusuf Muhammad as the new managing director of the Federal Airports of Nigeria. That's popularly called FAN. Mr. Muhammad is the immediate past regional general manager, North Central Airport Manager, NARA in Abuja. Prior to his appointment, Muhammad was appointed as the chairman of the Aviation Roadmap Implementation Committee in January 2022 by the Minister of Aviation. Mr. Hadi Sirika, a position he effectively combined with his office as general manager, special duties at FAN. Federal government also appointed Mr. Taib Odunawo as director, aerodrome and airspace standards at the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority as new managing director. A lot of replacements there, and of course, a lot of developments there. And the very big one is the expected that the minister said that the Nigerian Air would fly before President Buhari hands over. We have few days to that. Let's get talking. And I introduced him earlier, Mr. Wole Shadari. He's a friend of the house, aviation analyst and aviation journalist. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Tolu.
After all the days in Abuja, it's good to have you back here in Lagos.
Good to be here.
But first, I'll ask you, did you call with Nigeria Air? We expect Nigeria Air to be up before February 29. But on a more serious note, the minister insisted and told us that this would happen before President Buhari leaves office. We've seen landmark projects that the president has been, inaugurating in recent times. What is playing out around that? It's a good way to start the conversation.
Yeah, I remember the last time I came here, I said having Nigeria Air would be maybe seventh wonder of the world.
Wow.
I said that not because it wasn't going to be a reality or things have not been put in place to make sure that this airline flies. But we just have like 6 days to inauguration, and everything is pointing to the direction that we may actually not have Nigeria Air. But the minister insisted, still insists that Nigeria Air will fly. But when you look at it, there are so many encumbrances put on the part of Nigeria Air. We know the litigation of some of the airlines who are actually who are aggrieved that the minister went the way he went by excluding them from the project and some other things that they felt was not in the interest of Nigeria. But the minister has defended his position, saying that it was in the interest of Nigeria, but it doesn't look as if Nigeria will fly, because we have just 7 days or 6 days to inauguration, where the new administration will take over. Aside that, the litigation also has not been vacated. That order by the High Court has not been vacated. There's still litigation on it. So it is not very clear that this airline will fly. Secondly, it doesn't also appear that it will fly because a lot of things will have to be put in place for Nigeria Air to fly. Aside that also, we are also looking at, government is a continuum. The big deal in all of this is that a process has been started. It is now left to the new administration to look at it to say, okay, whether they want to go ahead with it, or they want to discard it, or they want to start a different model entirely. But it's very, very desirable to have a national airline, to have whatever name they call it, Nigeria Airline or Air Nigeria or whatever they call it. But it must be done transparently. It must be done in a way that you have to get the buy-in of all the stakeholders. You have to answer some of the hard questions that they have asked about this airline and which answer must be given. So those are the things that have stopped or delayed the takeoff of the airline. But it remains to be seen whether the new administration will actually go on with the project. But from what they have done, a lot of people have supported the idea of having a national carrier. But the issue is that they were not very, very comfortable with the process driven by Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika. Some of them felt the process has not been very, very transparent. The process has not been, they have not been carried along. So those are the issues, those are the bottlenecks we have in not having this airline as at the time the minister wanted. According to the minister, everything was set, or most of the things are set, but the AOC is not ready as at today. The AOC, you can't fly without the Air Operator Certificate, which is granted by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. That certificate licenses you as an operator. It gives you the power to begin flight operation, and they must go through the process, which takes quite a number of time. And up to today, the airline doesn't have an AOC, so the possibility of it flying is very, very remote. It's neither here nor there. It is not something that looks feasible for now until all these things are put in place. You have to withdraw the litigation, you have to vacate it, you have to put concrete steps in place to ensure that you're truly serious about floating a national airline. But like I said, it's very desirable. But the problem is that the industry, the stakeholder, didn't agree with the operation or the processes driven by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika.
I don't think there's much time to address that.
Yes, because
at the moment.
I don't think so, because tomorrow, Wednesday, May 24th, the Federal Executive Council is going to be dissolved.
Yes, I think they have a meeting. They just
okay, so now. They're going to have their last FEC tomorrow, where the Federal Executive Council will be dissolved, and the ministers are expected to hand over to the permanent secretaries. Yeah. So, and the permanent secretaries will not want to drive a policy that they are not sure of, because we have a government that is coming in less than 6-7 days. So they need to wait to look at the direction of the incoming government before they know what to do. Or look at the direction of the new, the minister we're going to have, whether he will be open to continue with what Sirika has done or start a new project entirely. Because, you know, it's very, very common with us that when a government goes or when a minister leaves, instead of continuing with that project, they start a new project. The only president that has done that is President Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, I wanted to say that
who inherited
second Niger Bridge.
No, the second Niger Bridge. That was a discussion yesterday.
Okay.
Yes, somebody was saying that the last administration started. I said no. What they did was just the paperwork. There was nothing on ground to show that they really started anything. Yes, I agree that there was paperwork, things were done, but this administration took it up, started it from the scratch and completed it. So kudos to them. So President Buhari continued with some of the projects he inherited in aviation and things like that. So we don't know whether the new administration will want to continue with some of the things they met on ground, or they want to start entirely a new project or new projects.
Let's talk about this last-minute changes that we now see in the industry. Yeah. It's very important, you know, you see top, hierarchy in the aviation sector, and this sudden change. Some would tend to think that, what is really playing out? You know more than us.
Yes,
what do you think is playing out?
I think there's a lot of power game playing out in the aviation industry. It's not only in the aviation industry, in some other sector. But what I really don't know, why that of aviation has generated a lot of uproar. We've had changes in some ministry, like the new accountant general, that didn't
generate too much.
So, like I always say, they come and they go. They have tenure. Some of them have, spent, their 4 years, and the government felt okay, maybe they need to bring fresh blood. Although some have seen it as a way of a deeper interest than what it normally should be. Maybe the minister will explain to us, like he did yesterday. He said most of the appointment had the backing of the president. So, like I said, it's like soldier come, soldier go, barrack remains. So, and if the people that left, if some people had not been relieved of their duties, perhaps those that they sacked now, or those that, no, I won't use sack, those that were relieved of their duties probably wouldn't have served too. So, but I just have an issue with one or two. The former managing director has done so well in terms of infrastructure, in terms of Captain Rabiu Yadudu has done so well, and the same way the acting managing director of Nigeria Space Management Agency, Captain Kwajok, who is one of the most intelligent aviators that I've come across in this country, how he will have to be made an acting MD for more than 1 year, and the next thing you ask him to go. Kwajok has a lot of experience. I'm not trying to make case for him, but I think the industry understand that this is one of the best hands you can. The people coming in, like the man in front coming in, is equally highly experienced too. Kabir, Mr. Kabir is highly experienced, and I think is the best appointment that the minister has done in terms of the changes that have happened in FAN. But that is not to say that the former MD hasn't done well. He has done exceedingly well. But you know, they say change is permanent. The only thing that is permanent is change. And we also want to believe that it will continue from or surpass what the former managing director of FAN has done. So like I said, there are more likely to be more changes before the day runs out, maybe before today or tomorrow, but we're watching keenly. We shouldn't even be disturbed about it because it's like dog eat dog situation.
But there's still a lot of contending issues. Sorry, I have to interject you. There's still a lot of contending issues, and one of the major or notable ones is this issue of international airlines not being able to get their monies, in this country, and it's becoming very worrisome.
Yes,
going to hundreds of dollars.
I think that problem, the government has, to a large extent, solved that problem. The airlines are no longer complaining. IATA is no longer complaining. What they did, I'm sure what is left now is just a few amount of millions of dollars that is there. Because what they did, the federal government with IATA enter into an agreement where they can sell tickets not at the official rate, but almost very close to the parallel market. So it's now very interesting. So there's no way your money can be with CBN again. You are making your money because is what has delayed or what has made this trust fund to grow to over $770 million was because they get this money, they need to convert it. Some of the money they get in Naira, so they will need to convert them into dollar.
Rate issues.
So the problem is almost non-existent now. Government has waded in by giving them a window or creating a window where they can get their money at almost the same way with the parallel market. So that problem is almost resolved.
No more accumulation there.
No more accumulation. What they get their money now, maybe what is remaining is from the little money left. And again, government decided to spread it and say, okay, before now, and say, okay, if your money is 10 naira, we look for a way to give you 20 naira. If it's 50 naira, we look for a way to give you 5 naira, 10 naira, until they were able to resolve the problem, until they were able to get. But this new window has made it very, very easy for them to get their money. And the airlines are making more money now, and the federal government is also making more money because the more money they take from you as a passenger, the more money you pay to the government as tax. So government is making money, everybody is making money, everybody is happy. IATA too is somehow happy, but I'm surprised that IATA hasn't come out to say something about it, because when it is bad, IATA comes out to tell you that, oh, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, but I haven't heard anything from IATA. Maybe the IATA AGM, which I will attend next month in Istanbul, we will discuss this with IATA, know exactly what is happening. And the last time IATA reacted was that they weren't the one who fixed the new rates, the ticket new rate of, Forex, things like that. They had no business with it. I am suspecting it's government, and which is a good thing. Nigerians really want to fly. Whether you make the ticket 800,000, 1 million naira, go to the airport. In fact, I ask people, where do they see money to fly? Somebody will be buying economic ticket from Lagos to London at 1.3 million, 4 million, 5 million, and they don't bother. So, but I think what they should do now, since the government has looked for a window how they can get their money, they should also open the lower inventories where ticket can be bought at a cheaper rate. The airlines are making a kill, especially on the foreign airlines, especially on the Nigerian route. It's really, really a kill now. So they are smiling to the bank and making a lot of money.
So let's wrap up on this note. We all know that by Monday, there's inauguration of President-elect Bola Tinubu. Now, the discussion now will be, what are the low-hanging fruits for the aviation industry? You talked about whoever becomes the minister. What sort of discussion do you think they should be having around the table immediately they get to office?
Yes, I think the aviation industry is very critical to the development of the country's economy.
True.
Yeah, so aviation is the key, plays a very key role in the economy of Nigeria.
Yeah.
So what I feel the government should do is to look at what are those things that has really made aviation to be almost backward in Nigeria, in spite of the gains we have made in some area. In terms of infrastructure, we have done well. In terms of so many airlines that are coming, we have so many airlines. And if the economy is as bad as it's been painted, yes, I know it's very bad, we won't have more airlines. We have recorded more airlines. This administration has recorded more airlines coming into the industry than any other administration. So something must be an attraction for them. Just 2 weeks ago, Rano Air came in, and a host of other airlines are also coming. I think the administration need to sit with the airline operators of Nigeria to really know how they can bring down the cost of aviation fuel. Aviation takes about 40%, or before now, it takes about 30% of the entire revenue of the airlines. But now, I am sure it takes about 60% of their revenue. So what we can do, look for ways how airlines can get this commodity at a very cheaper rate. Thank God the Dangote refinery has come. We just hope that it will help to ameliorate some of this problem. The issue of forests, we need to begin to sit down to look at how we can make forests available, not only to the airlines. We have ground handlers, we have so many other companies in aviation. We also need to sit down to begin to look at labor-related issues. One of the problems we've had in the industry in the last 3, 4, 5 years is, continuous shutdown of aviation on, I won't call it flimsy excuses by the union. Nowhere in the world that the unions take the law into their hand, like the one that happened recently. The Imo State government had issues with labor unions, and the next thing, those unions came to Lagos to disrupt flight. What has the problem you have with Imo State governor got to do with people in Lagos? If you have problem, go to the government house in Imo State, shut the government house, and stop the governor from leaving the place, rather than come to the aviation industry to disrupt everything. And in the last 4 years, the aviation industry has lost over 24 billion naira or 25 billion naira to this incessant labor dispute. So we should look for a way to mitigate those problems. The aviation industry can be attractive. We've really done well. Nigeria was the second country to recover from COVID behind Colombia, and the fastest growing aviation industry after Colombia. Not even the United States recorded that feat. Not even the United Kingdom recorded that feat. So we've done so well. We shouldn't throw the baby away with the bathwater. We should try to look at where we have gone wrong with the way to correcting them, and where we have done well with a way to improving on them. So the aviation, the incoming administration needs to look at the aviation critically. They also need to look at so many other things that multiple charges should also be looked at. Then we also need to look at stability in the aviation industry. We haven't had that for some time now. So we need to do that. And I want to believe that also the right people will be appointed to some of these positions and not just, is my brother, is my friend. Let us bring aviators. Let us bring good managers that can run this system. And I bet you Nigeria aviation will be on the trajectory.
Interesting stuff there, yes. So I've been speaking to Mr. Wole Shadari, soft-spoken there, but making the point. As an aviation journalist and analyst, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate this. I think we'll still have another discussion because I wanted to talk around the single African transport market, cargo, and what is happening around that. That'll be our next round of conversation. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.